Hello everyone and welcome to another video, something a little bit different this time from the stop motions that I usually make. Today we are doing a Q&A video, something which I came up with a couple of days ago, put out a community post asking for questions, and we did get a few nice questions which I'm going to answer. This is, gets sort of like a New Year's special since it's start of 2026, so Happy New Year everyone. So yeah, let's get started with the questions. The first one comes from my good friend Reviews Ty, who asks, "You've done many different types of content over the years. What is it about stop motion that stuck with you, and what about the format has it made it to be your main interest in terms of what videos you make?" Now this is, I think, probably the most interesting question here. One of the things that has stuck with me with stop motion is just, well, it's been there for as long as I've been on YouTube. And I don't just mean since I started making videos. No, like when I first discovered the existence of YouTube back in, I think it was 2010. Some of the first videos I watched were stop motions that I really got into following. Those were like old Tomica stop motions, which, if you go back to the early days of my channel, also inspired the first videos I uploaded here, which are old Tomica stop motions. Though those old videos had a lot of Tomica cars, well, I used more Hot Wheels, but still, you get the idea. And yeah, it's just always kind of stuck around with me, stop motion, so, which I think is one of the main reasons why it's still here when other types of content aren't. Though it's also really, it's really good for like the type of videos I make, stop motion races. You have a lot of cars that you need to move and like other ways of moving them. At least if you want to move all of them at the same time. Like in the past I made videos, of course, where I just had my hands moving the toy cars, which was when I did my Cars Universe series. The problem with that is your hand is obviously in screen and it's going to be covering part of it, and you can't move everything at the same time without covering it all with your hand. And yeah, that's not really fun. And I mean, I've also made gaming videos which just don't really appeal to me, honestly. And yeah, it's just, I think stop motion has a lot of benefits. Also, just you get to do so much. You have like so many different things you can do with it. You can do racing, you can do Lego, you can do with all sorts of things. And I think it's just like really cool to just like have these singular pictures, and then as you just combine them, it suddenly turns into like this whole video that means something. So, moving on to the second question. This one comes from Skizzy Benz, who asks, "Do you plan on more creators having teams?" Which is referring to the fact that I made a race team for my upcoming Toyota GR Cup series. You might have seen a community post based on his channel called Skizzy Benz Nitrox Racing, which is this car. And he's asking if I'm going to do that for other creators. And the answer is, well, I already have. In fact, going back to season 1, there's been one entry called Thai Blue Racing, which is based on Reviews Ty, the person who asked the first question. He's like a really close friend of mine, so he's been sort of represented there from the beginning. Of course, we got the custom for Thai Blue Racing here. And if you've watched the last season of the HW International GT Championship, you'll have seen that a few other YouTuber-based teams have also appeared, such as the All-Star Racing team, PCS Racing, both based on other stop-motion YouTubers. They've created a couple more for the coming season, such as the NH Racing team car here, and more that are not here. But so there are already more creators, and I do plan on making more of them in the future. In fact, I do already have a creator in mind who I might try to contact soon, ask them about, well, a design for a car, and you'll see that whenever I make that. I don't know how soon I'll do that, but yeah, there's definitely more to come. Then we have another question. This one comes from Paper Cup Series, who asks, if money doesn't play a factor, which race car would you love to drive, and also in which racing series? I think my choice would be the Brabham BT63 GT2 in the GT2 European Series. Which, if you don't know a lot about racing, if you're not a big nerd like me, you're probably like, what the heck is this thing? That's not a brand that's very well known, but I think it's a really cool looking car. Like, it's a design you don't really see often in racing because it's not like a Lamborghini or a Ferrari. It's a very obscure race car that is no longer produced since the company building them had a disagreement or something, or at least split up with the people who own the Brabham name, so it's no longer being produced. It's only raced for a single season, and I think it's a really cool looking car, and the series it raced in, the GT2 European Series, is one of my personal favorite racing series to follow. Then we have a few questions that are somewhat related to each other, at least the answers are. The first one is from Diecast Reviews 11, who asks, what is your favorite Hot Wheels of all time? And that would be the Renault Sport RS01, which you can see here, and well, quite a few of here. Mostly because it's kind of like the Brabham I mentioned with the previous question. It's a bit more of an obscure car, not as mainstream if you look at the GT3 series, because this is sort of a GT3 car. You're not going to see it racing in most series. It's just like in a few obscure championships, and I like obscure race cars. And when I first found out about this car, which is because of its Hot Wheels release back in 2016, I kind of was immediately fascinated with it, and it's just sort of become my favorite that way. Which also goes into the next question by JForce1, who asks, what influenced you to choose the Renault as the flagship vehicle for your team? Which, if you didn't know, Team Blackfire, that's my sort of personal racing team in my stop motions. It's also made some appearances, or at least it's going to make some appearances in other people's series, which I think is cool. But yeah, the reason I chose the Renault is, again, because it's my favorite car. It's an obscure race car that most people wouldn't think of when they think of race cars. And then the final questions, which is sort of related, which is asked by Dan Maurice 3719, who asks, besides the RS01, what's your favorite race car of all time? Because he knows that the RS01 is my favorite, so basically what is my second favorite? And there it's kind of a tie. It's either the Ford Mustang GT3, the one that came in 2024, or the Chevrolet Corvette C8R. Both American race cars from the past 6 or so years. Which for some reason I really like. And then we have one final question from MotionWorks Racing, who asks, will you ever make an F1 stop motion race? So, will I make a Formula 1 stop motion race? I haven't quite decided yet, if I'm completely honest. So if you know me, I'm not a huge Formula 1 fan. In general, I don't really have much of an interest for open wheel racing in general. I'm very much more of the GT cars, which, of course, all unique chassis and like they're based on road cars most of the time. Not always. The RS01 isn't, but most GT cars are based on road cars, and those are the types of cars that I like the most, so that's what I do most. But I have considered making Formula 1 stop motions. I do have all of the 2025 Formula 1 Hot Wheels releases, and I do hope to get all of the 2026 ones as well, if I can get my hands on them. And if I am able to do it, I will probably do one at some point. Because I do think it's would be fun to have just like a one-off open wheel race. Maybe like a sport race or something. And yeah, that's just all of the questions. If any more questions are posted under the community post, or maybe even underneath this video, maybe follow-up questions or other people who didn't submit anything on the community post, I will probably just answer them in the comments. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in a future video. Bye!